Is that your girl? Is that your girl? Is it? Is it? Oh, you're so silly. And the alpaca are jealous. You guys will get your turn. Screw, nut, whatever you want to call it, off of there. These pigeons, what are they doing? There's got to be a conspiracy. They're talking to the alpaca and working out an escape plan. Welcome to the 10 Acre Woods. My name's Mark, and it is a beautiful day, which is nice because it has been rainy and rainy ever since the snow melted this year. So things have now dried up. The forecast is looking promising, and we hope we can just get on with our summer. So I'm up here with our ponies and goats. So up here we have two stud goats. One of them is Carl. Hey, Carl. You may notice his horns are short. Now with stud goats, they tend to beat things up quite a bit. As you can see over on the building there, Billy has done some damage to that. Carl is older and apparently more wiser now, and he doesn't beat things. So we have Meadow on the right there, and Levi, and Daisy inside the building. Billy! 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 Yeah, I knew you were in there. So that's Billy and Daisy's house in there. Hi, Levi. What are you doing? Did I disturb you? I came in and you were just getting ready to relax. Hi, Meadow. Some of you had asked about Meadow's mother. So Meadow's mother, they went off, her and her sister went off to another farm. What was that, three years ago? 2019, I believe it was. Meadow here was born on the farm, and Levi came in with two females, which was Shadow and Willow. So the previous owners of the three of them didn't think that this boy was tall enough to do anything with the girls, but really the girls were fairly small. They were about Daisy's size. So yeah, no problem. And here we have Meadow, which is actually, she is shorter than her mother. Probably because of your stunted size. Hey, buddy? Yeah. So Levi had gone off farm somewhere. We had rehomed him, but where he went to, there was a kind of a neighbor conflict as to property lines and such, and he didn't want her animals on his property, and so just to settle everything, he came back here, which is good, right? Yeah, because Levi's a good boy, and him and his daughter get along wonderfully. They are always out running and having a good time. They just make a great pair. All right, we're gonna stop right here because I'm editing the video and I realized I didn't even finish what I was saying. So let me finish here. Meadow's mother, which is Willow, somebody had actually, a few people have asked, what's up with them? And I was getting to that point, but somehow I started talking about Levi and his story. So what had happened with Shadow and Willow, which is Meadow's mother, is they went off to a farm where they were trained. They were possibly going to keep them. They weren't sure. They liked them a lot. But they ended up rehoming them. So they said they will send us some pictures once they get into contact with the person that they rehomed them to. Now what this farm does is they'll take animals on, they'll train them, and then once they're fully trained, they're a lot more valuable as a pet horse. That people are more interested in because they can get, if they live in the country, they can get a pony for their kids and they can handle them and they're easier to handle versus a horse that hasn't been trained and doesn't have that experience. So that is the update on Meadow's mother. Now Daisy, that was about before, no, it was probably about the same year, I believe. I think it was just earlier that year. So Daisy came in and her feet were very bad. So she was with an older couple that wanted a pony but just didn't know how to take care of them and didn't realize that especially ponies, they can founder really quickly, really easily on lush grass. So they just get too much, they put too much fat on, and it can affect their legs and their entire body. And with their hoofs not being trimmed, she could barely walk when she came in. So she is looking good now, and Billy is keeping her on her toes for sure. What are you doing back there? You keep me on my toes, don't you, buddy? Yes. Is it a nice day? Oh, you want some salt? Yeah, good stuff. All right, and then Carl. Carl, you like your rock? Billy and Carl love their rocks. They like to hang out with them and stand on them. Hey, bud. So horns on a goat will continuously grow, but they grow very slowly after their first, 18 months or so. His have fallen off, and you can think of them as they kind of grow like stacked ice cream cones is probably the best way. Tara mentioned that to somebody, and I thought, yeah, no, that's a good way to explain it. The core where there's blood is in the bottom, let's call it the bottom quarter, the bottom third, and then the top portion, which he is missing, is those stacked cones, and they're just kind of there's no blood rushing through those portions of it. So he did, when he was whacking trees and doing what he does, he did have a little bit of blood because he did get into that core. But everything's healed up now, and he doesn't really hit things anymore with his head. So I guess he's learned. So in this video, I decided to talk about grains just because we have an addition out in the yard. So the grains we get here on the farm are donated to us. There's a testing facility that tests grain, like all food products, and it has to pass certain standards, of course. But there's leftover grain, so they'll get, let's call it a kilogram of grain. They'll do a test on it to make sure it is acceptable, and then they just kind of dump the rest of it in a bag, and they have a backlog of it. So they used to just incinerate it. But we managed to, a couple of years ago, we managed to secure most of that material to come here on the farm. So that's wonderful. It's no longer waste. It's something that is used. Now, what we've also done is with chicken feed, is a great example. What we had done is we had take the tag off of the chicken feed, rip that off, and it has all the nutritional value on there and what it contains. So then we took our grains and we made a blend. We made a couple blends, and then we sent them to a lab for analysis to figure out, what we should be feeding our birds. The results came back, and one of those, I think there were 3 we sent, one of them was bang on everything with the exception of calcium and protein. So what we've now done is we've taken that blend and we have added, for protein, we've added, say, seaweed, works great as protein, and calcium is your eggshells or your oyster shells. So we've added that in to bump up to make that blend. So we feed our grains, primarily the barley and the wheat goes to the chicken and the geese. We sometimes will do peas. Peas need to be soaked, so generally in the wintertime, Tara will soak the peas and lentils as well, so another source of protein. We'll soak them for 24 hours and then feed them the next day, soak some more for the next day, and so on. So this is inside the barn, and if you've been watching these videos, you will recognize this area here. And this area was initially going to be a rabbit area when we first built this building. That little piece of wood there is an actual sliding door that goes up. But we moved the rabbits out to their rabbit area, or left them out there. And we've kept this as a feed room, or we'll call it the kitchen, I guess. So there as well as here. And there's our entrance door coming into the building. And these are 45-gallon drums. So what we've done here is try to make use of all kinds of space. And that's the trick. So we've got our countertop, which when we open it up reveals our barrels. So this here is barley. So that's just our food grade barley. And then this bin here is our wheat. So that's the wheat. So we've been storing here, and then we've got other materials down here. We have here are our peas in here. And we've got a few other ones. I'm not going to move stuff around. But we've got a bunch of different things in here. Now with our alpaca and pigs, we do have their pelletized food. So there's the alpaca food, and here's the pig food, all labeled. There we go. They're just a pelletized cracked corn and some chicken feed. I don't know if that's actually chicken feed. No. Well, it's probably an old container that had chicken feed, or sometimes people will donate us chicken feed, especially for chicks. We haven't hatched out chicks in a number of years, but we use a chick feed generally instead of blending our own, just because there's that extra nutrition that they need when they're younger. So this is, like I said, we'll call it the kitchen. And if we move out into this area up here, we have bags and bags of grain. So this room has been a storage area for a number of years, and it's just got everything in it. What we want to do here is, because we have visitors that come to the farm and go through and see the animals, we want to kind of turn this into, I don't know, maybe like a little gift store or a craft store, something that we can put our like our wool that we're processing here from our sheep, just a bunch of different things in here, making proper use of this room. So you can see the labeling here. This is all wheat, all in here. I think that might even be wheat, and then barley. There's just a massive amounts, and then we do have other materials that are either donated or that we purchase. So here's some rice flour that was actually donated to us. So I believe these ones were all donated. And then over on this side we have some other feeds like alpaca feed and rabbit feed and a bunch of different feeds there. So that is that's kind of our feed area. That looks like rabbit, I want to say. But here's the card that I mentioned. So it has, okay, this is alpaca, and then it has a listing of everything in it and the percentages that it contains. So this is kind of what we used when we built our chicken feed. We've been thinking about this for some time, trying to figure out which one to buy and what to do, and we have now a silo. So it's not quite complete. I picked this up on Friday. And we've been putting it together, so lots of bolts that go in here. It all comes in pieces. We thought it was going to come as an assembled unit, but no, it comes with just the drum on top, and then you have to actually put everything together, which was a little bit of a nightmare. We had a couple casualties here, which with all of these bolts, this one's stripped, we've got to replace that. And then I think we lost a nut. We've got the bolt, we just didn't have a nut. And they didn't give you any replacements. Usually you'll get a couple extra, especially with this number of nuts and bolts. But no, not today. So the way this is going to work is we've got a rope here. And on the top you can see there's the lid. And we give that a lift so we can fill it. And how do we fill it? Well, we fill it with this guy here. So this is a 20-foot auger. We contacted a guy off Kijiji, which in the US I guess is Craigslist, the equivalent. And it is an auger that will, that end will go on the ground and this end will go up to the hopper. And augers it up and comes down to this guy here and dumps it in. So the only thing we have to figure out is, storage. Generally these things here are on wheels. It's like a teeter-totter. So we may have to get some kind of wheel system, or we may, it's fairly light. We may just store it this way and then put it up each time we need it, which we're not going to need it so often. Maybe once every 2 months we'll take the grain we need and put it in. So that is the auger system that we got. So we're starting to become a real farm here. So we have barley and wheat, which I mentioned are the two main ones. We are going to get another one. They didn't have it in inventory, so there's a second one that's on order that will go beside it. Now on the bottom is this guy here, which we're still have to hook up. So this goes in the bottom like this. It's angled, and this actually is the little chute door. So you'd slide this to open it up and then slide it to close. So that's how you would get it out of the bottom, and that goes on there. So we just have to bolt that system together, and then we should be good. So if you're interested in this type of unit, so Buffer Valley Industries in Saskatchewan manufactures these. So they're the plastic ones, there's not the metal ones, and it's actually relatively light. So this area back in here is where we store our winter hay. And we've got 2 more of these 45-gallon drums here. We open them up. Look at that. There is more barley and more wheat. So we've got lots of them stored all over the place. This is primarily for more so the winter time, because we do feed everybody, like all the birds and geese, out in the yard. So in the winter time, they remain in this area here. And of course the pigeons as well. All the pigeons. People have asked us, well, why do you have pigeons? Really no reason. We had pigeons years ago, and we just like the look of them flying through the yard. It's just they've got that soft cooing sound. I don't know. It's a pet. And there's a couple eggs down here, and I'm just noticing. How did this happen? We've got the positive restraint or connector or secure screw, nut, whatever you want to call it, off of there. These pigeons, what are they doing? There's got to be a conspiracy. They're talking to the alpaca and working out an escape plan. So that's our charger. We can see here we've got green lights all the way to the top, which is wonderful. That tells me that the line is doing what it needs to do. When we had flooding going on, I wasn't getting a green at all, just because the parts of the electric fence was submerged underwater, and there was a tree because we had some heavy winds. There was also a tree that had fallen on one of the lines. So yeah, pigeons, female rabbits, and this area here is, now open to the outside. We've still got to clear this out, but we're waiting for things to dry out. Probably July, I'm guessing. The outer run for the rabbits and, of course, the roosters in there. Billy just threw some stuff on the rabbit there. That was... What are you doing, Billy? He's got a stick. So this is Billy the rooster. Billy, what are you doing, buddy? He picked up that stick and he was whacking it on the ground. These birds, I don't know, I think they're smarter than we give them credit for. It's like, oh, there's a human. Quick, act like a bird. Act like a farm animal. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, well, let him do what he's doing. Okay, now this is where it gets a little mucky. We've got the pigs out here, of course, just loving it. Oh, the sun's coming out. Look at that. Chickens and guinea fowl are in this area. And of course the ducks and geese and chickens all come out here. So this is the water. This is the trench here. So it's still quite high. It's not as bad. You know, we've got in our swale here, we've still got some water. What we had done is this pink hose here is a lie flat, 1.5-inch lie flat hose, which is 200 feet. We hooked it onto the pump over there, and for about, probably about 48 hours, we were pumping out to the highway. The equivalent of, I believe it was 87,000 gallons I calculated in a 24-hour period. Hi, Petey. Yeah, it's a little mucky in here, isn't it, buddy? And Piper. Sheldon, what are you doing? He's been wandering around aimlessly. Sheldon! It's like he's lost. Okay, so Tara's calling in the animals. So we have some visitors out here. Brought out their kids. Fernando, of course, is right in the middle, right in the thick of things, trying to impress. And it looks like, what's that, George? George was the only one. Oh, here we go. The alpaca are making their way. And I think that's as far as they went. They're like, what's going on? We don't see any food. We don't see any treats. Why are you calling us and disturbing us? Alright, so there's the pond. We've got we've had lots of seeds. You can probably even just see them floating around. Not as bad today, but the other day, even yesterday, you know, you'd walk around and you'd get them in your mouth, and it's the seeds, the fluff from the trees. A lot of it's fallen in here. Some of that green, well, most of that green is duckweed that grows here on the pond. So, oh, they did hatch too. So we've had Muscovy ducks laying eggs in hidden places. And it appears that we have a clutch. How many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6? Yeah, it looks like 6. Oh boy, more ducklings. You know, we tried it. The crows come in. You know, the crows are a pain. They do come in and they take, well, rarely they will kill some of our small birds, some of our small roosters. But mainly they come in and they steal the eggs, which is fine. You know, then, you know, they're taking them. We're not having to worry about any ducklings being born. The Muscovies, yeah, they just seem to be multiplying. We got quite a few of them around the yard. But it's because they hide, and the crows can't find their nests. Okay, so we've got all the mama and kids, and littles, as we like to call them, over in that pen. And the alpaca are jealous. You guys will get your turn. We've been rotating them, putting in the other ones, you know, every other day, or maybe in the morning for a couple hours, and then in the evening. So this is Jasper. Hi, Jasper. What is it? Are you jealous? And then, of course, Java's down there. Oh, there's Fernando. Shanzi. And Paula. So we've got a few Pekin ducks around. Here's one of them. This one, his name's Bubba. And Bubba's getting up there in age. So he kind of wanders around. He usually hangs out with the geese. But I guess he doesn't want to wander that far. So he decided just to hang out out here. So that's Bubba. He's a Pekin. And we have 2 other Pekin, which are in here. And Ritzy sees us. So Ritzy was a hand-raised Pekin. And is very friendly. Hey, buddy. How you doing? What are you doing? Oh, yes. What are you doing? Oh, you're such a silly. Yes, you're such a silly boy. So you can hear the rasp. So it's not like a quack, quack, quack. It's kind of a raspy quack. So that's one way to tell if it's a male or a female, the females will quack, and you'll hear the difference. Also on the tail there, you can see a little, what's called a drake feather. So that little feather that curls up. Yes, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? He's just so friendly. So this one here is Squirt. So this is Ritzy's buddy. Now, Squirt is a female, young, so the quack isn't really, not quacking so much. Is that your girl? Is that your girl? Is it? Is it? Oh, you're so silly. You're so silly. So, Squirt over there is not as friendly as Ritzy, but is a female. So these two have been hanging out. So maybe we'll allow you guys to have some, because my favorite duck is the Pekin. I don't know. It's just they got such character, especially when they're hand raised. But he'll run across the yard when we come out on the deck. He'll actually run across the yard and then go over to the fence there and look up on the deck. Okay, so we have Edgar's family here.
Hello.
This is so Edgar came from your home.
Yes.
And he was a house rabbit, I guess.
Yes, he lived in my room with me.
But you had moved, and of course you couldn't take him.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, this apartment had no pets.
Yeah. So he is sitting right here. He is Hi, Sheldon. Are you protecting him? So here's Edgar down here, just lying in the shade.
Best decision you could have ever made. Because he's loving it.
And of course, Edgar's got a girlfriend,
Now,
Bun Bun, which is in her
happy place.
happy place in here. And of course, her family's here as well. So of course, just all at the same time, you guys decided to come and visit your rabbits.
They're doing so well.
Yeah, well, she likes it in there. She just kind of hangs out in there. You know, she's undisturbed.
She's happy.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, well, is she going to be able to get out of there? Like, is she stuck? But I guess she can squeak through those two pieces of wood.
So it's really kind of neat that these guys get to meet because their rabbits have now bonded.
Yeah.
And they're getting married.
Yeah, so now the family, we have to
We're officially
wedding.
in-laws.
arrange the wedding.
Bun Bun in a tutu and I have ties. Put a little tie on Edgar.
That would be adorable.
They get married right here.
Oh boy.
Where they met.
So that is it for another video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And think about subscribing by clicking on that subscription button. Take care, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.